Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Industrial Packaging Podcast with me, your host, Nathan Doobie, Digital Marketing Specialist at Industrial Packaging. On today's episode, we have special guest, Ruby Rusine, Social Media Marketing Maven at socialsuccessmarketing.com. Ruby, welcome to the show.
Hi, Nate. Thank you so much for having me over, and hello, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really looking forward to today's episode. So why don't we just jump into the first question, which is, can you tell us a bit about yourself and your role at Social Success Marketing?
Well, I often get asked that question. So I am Ruby. I am the Business Development Officer and the Chief Social Media Strategist for Social Success Marketing. I actually own the company. It is a minority female-owned business, and my team has been in this business for over 20 years. We serve the B2B space, covering manufacturing, construction, and technology, and that's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's fantastic. And congratulations. It's not easy to start or run your own business. And I have the greatest respect for entrepreneurs such as yourself.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's not easy, and thanks.
I believe that. Okay, so question number 2 is, where can people find you on the web?
Okay, people can find us on www.socialsuccessmarketing.com. Also, since I am a co-chair of two Twitter chats, one's for U.S. manufacturers, and the other one is for construction and home service pros, people will always find us on Twitter. We are always there. And then we're also on other social media platforms because, of course, we're social media specialists.
Well, that does make sense. And for all the listeners, I am part now of the USA Manufacturing Twitter chat. Absolutely would recommend hopping on there. We can put details in the video below, so when you guys watch this, I'll have that information ready for you. And I would suggest checking it out if you're working for a B2B or USA manufacturing company.
Yeah, that will be great if anyone can join us. And yeah, just check it out and learn about the manufacturing industry and network with other businesses.
Awesome, will do. All right, well, that brings us to question number 3, which kind of jumps into the meat of today's topic, which is, how would you describe your relationship as a consumer to product packaging?
Now, this is a fun question for me to answer right away. As a consumer, my relationship to packaging is like dating,
Okay.
right? So people that are, dating or finding someone, trying to find someone to date, you can relate to this. One is of initial attraction and continued assessment. I am first drawn to products with visually appealing packaging. That's one that gets me first. But I also consider the functionality of the packaging and how well it protects the product that I'm buying. Another point is that to me, it would be very helpful when the packaging helps me first understand what the product is, what the products do, how they work, and in some cases, how to open it, so I can use it and enjoy it. So, an attractive, functional, and informative packaging truly matters to me.
That's fantastic. I mean, you really hit the nail on the head there. I think the biggest, most important things are absolutely the functionality of it. Good branding design, the right colors and typography that
Yep.
captures the ideal customer profile. So yeah, you definitely got that. That is the correct answer, I guess I would say.
Oh, yay!
Which, moving on to question 4 is, what is one thing that you love about your favorite brand's packaging?
I have so many favorite brands, and there are so many things that I love about my favorite brands. But the one thing that I love about it the most is that it should be, take note of this, manufacturers, super, super easy to open so I can use the product. Come on, I bought it. I want to use it right away. Products that are, products that are so hard to open, they, steal my joy.
Yes, and that's stealing joy is not what you want to do when you're engaging your customers with the products you're selling. So for those companies
Right.
who are listening, this is the second guest this year who has mentioned that ease of use when opening the packaging is important. So keep that
Yeah.
topic in mind, guys.
Please do. There are really products out there that have very complicated opening mechanisms. Hey, you listening? And they just don't make sense to me. Why make it so difficult for me to open it? It's not like I want to spend hours to figure out how to open them, or even worse, if I do manage to get it open, then what happens when I need to close it again? See that?
That's a good point. Absolutely. And it's interesting that you say that because the next two questions kind of already tie into the direction that we're moving. That the second one is what is one thing you hate, which really goes into the following question, which is have you ever experienced wrap rage, which is getting angry at packaging that is hard to open?
Oh, those it struck a nerve, by the way. So I hate it when products are hard to open, And I haven't gotten to the point of really in a rage opening it. I call it wrestling with the product.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
I I hate it also when the packaging is stingy with information on what the product is about or how to use it. It's like a big secret to them. Or, the more the information, the better the products manufacturers.
Yeah, love it. I've definitely bought products in the past where I think they're going for a minimalist feel. And from a design standpoint, that can certainly be effective. But if you do have a product that needs to be put together or comes in pieces, it's absolutely essential that there's instructions on the side so that you can
Uh-huh.
figure out if you really want to go through the trouble of buying this product or not.
Uh-huh. And I'm not going to mention one big company that does that, okay?
Well, that's good. I'm sure whoever they are will appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't currently have a lotion here from a local company. I love the scent. Oh my gosh. I have it for a couple of days already. I still can't figure out how to open it.
Oh no. Yeah, that's never fun when you buy a product and you have to pry it open, or if it requires the use of a knife or scissors. It's always
Uh-huh.
frustrating when you get to that point and it takes you like 10 minutes just to get to the product that you're trying to enjoy.
That's right. Please make it easy. I'm going to actually write to this company and let them know, send a nice note because I bought another one from another country, made in another country, but I like supporting our local economy and our US manufacturers and businesses.
Absolutely. That's interesting you said that. My previous guest, we were discussing about made in the USA products and manufacturing
Mm-hmm.
companies. And, with all the volatility in the world right now, it's not only, great to support your local businesses and USA made products, but because of the supply chain issues that are going on in the world, it's
Mm-hmm.
actually easier to source with made in the USA products. If, the price might be a little bit higher, but you also pay
Yeah.
for what you get.
Exactly. Yeah, price is higher, but quality is really higher. I'm an immigrant, but I love our country. US is my adopted country, and I've seen how products are made. Are I always look for made in USA product, and I know it's pricey, but I can appreciate, the work behind it. The cost. I'm a business owner, so I know the cost. It's pretty much that way how I look at
Yeah.
it.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, that's good insights. And I mean, that rolls right into question number 7, which is would you be willing to pay more for a product that has packaging that is easy to open?
Now. I haven't thought of that until you asked me this question. So I would say it depends. For me, it's always the product, what I'm buying. If I really wanted it or need it, or sometimes just want it. When I buy something, the packaging hasn't even occurred to me as a factor in my decision for the most part. Although I get attracted to the packaging. Yes, I look at it, but at the end of the day, do I really need it? Now, some people might be willing to pay more for a product that has packaging that is easy to open, while others might not care as much, about that feature until they open it. That couldn't open it after all. Said
Yeah.
and done. Yeah.
Yeah, I find that the people that I've interviewed, it's kind of a 50-50 split. I mean, some people
Hmm.
are adamant that, they will buy a product that's easier to open over a competitor's product, and others, if they're really passionate about the brand, whether it's clothing or
Yeah.
electronics or something, they'll go through the trouble to open complicated packaging. So
Yeah, those are the heavy duty fans, like really I gotta reward those kind of fans that still would buy the product, although the product is really hard to open.
yep, right on. All right. Well, that brings us to our next question, which is, how important is sustainability in regard to product packaging to you as a consumer?
This is a really great question because today I just saw the other day I bought something from a local US company, and then I complained about the peanut that they use in the
Yep.
packaging, and it was like three-fourths of what I bought or what's in the box. And I thought, whoa, this is a waste of this. It's so much waste. And, I thought it wasn't sustainable. But then I read what it said. Apparently it's soluble. So I was happy with that. So sustainability is very important to me as a consumer when it comes to product packaging. I believe that companies, I know it's everyone's responsibility, but I believe that companies should be using sustainable and recyclable materials in their packaging, in order to help reduce the amount of waste that is produced. I also think that it's very important for companies to provide information on their packaging about how to recycle or dispose of the product properly. To me, as a consumer, well, it's also important to, I mentioned this earlier, avoid excessive packaging. It's wasteful for me and it's not environmentally friendly. So that's
Yeah,
how it's important. Yeah, that's how important it is to me.
well, that's awesome, and I think that's great because for a long time it seemed like consumers in general probably weren't overly concerned with it. But as we move into the future,
Hmm.
sustainability and the impact that packaging has on the world is becoming more front and center. There's a lot of documentaries talking about what happens with waste and how the complexities of single stream recycling tie into all of this.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And
yeah, and it's
I just had a conversation recently with somebody on LinkedIn about, how heavy those glass I think it synced in with our prior conversation about the glass containers that manufacturers use, and then if it gets broken because it's not packaged well. So you can imagine the energy and the carbon footprint that's wasted back and forth.
Yeah, that's a big one. A lot of people are unaware of the fact that even if a packaging material is recyclable, like glass or metal, those
Mm-hmm.
two materials in particular, due to their weight and
Uh-huh.
their carbon footprint, which is significantly larger when compared to plastic, which is often demonized or thought of as a bad packaging material. When you look at it from the perspective of carbon footprint, it's actually one of the most sustainable materials, which isn't to say that plastic is quote unquote good. There's a lot of problems with plastic. We get it in our
Mm-hmm.
waterways and our rivers and the oceans. But from a carbon standpoint perspective, it is actually better for the earth. And it's odd when you first hear that, because when you think of glass, it's completely
Yeah.
recyclable, as is metal. But the process to manufacture it, to recycle or dispose of it, and to transport it all results in a higher carbon footprint, which is basically taking that pollution from a landfill and putting it into the air supply.
That's really a big eye opener to me when you mentioned that, because I think it's not the plastic's fault. It's actually the fault of the people that buy. They should be educated on how to dispose of it so it doesn't end up in the ocean, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And I mean, not all plastics are recyclable. Some of them do end up in a landfill. Some are
Mhm.
recyclable. And I
Yeah.
like that you pointed out, having instructions on how to properly dispose of it. For example, one of the most popular sustainable packaging materials today is bio-based or plant-based packaging. So that
Yeah.
that could be shrink film, that could be cups and paper plates and things of that nature. And a lot of people assume because it's biodegradable that you could just toss it on the side of the road or leave it in the woods if you go hiking. And that's not the case at all. In order to properly dispose of bio-based packaging materials, there's only two ways you can actually do it. One is if you have a home compost pile, which you can easily find the instructions to make online, depending upon the space you have in your yard or if you have a yard. And if you
Hmm.
don't, the other option is there are municipalities and towns, for example, Cambridge, Massachusetts, out where near where I live, they have a municipal composting facility. And what they do is it's kind of like the single stream recycling. You put all your compostable items, materials, old food scraps, banana peels into a bin,
Wow.
and a truck will come and pick it up and deliver it to this massive facility where all of this goes into a huge pile and it's composted on a huge scale. And when that breaks down, they take the compost and then they'll turn around and sell it to home and garden centers or Home Depot or
Wow.
plant nurseries and things of that nature.
So Nathan, do they have a separate bin for this?
Yes, yes, they
For
do.
homes?
Yeah, for the towns that have municipal composting facilities, in addition to the trash, the recycling bin, there will be a separate one just for food scraps and biodegradable materials.
That is actually great because my county, the place where I live right now, we are just start. We are well. I heard that they're testing a couple of areas here in my place in El Dorado County to
Mhm.
do just what you just said, and then they're starting to roll it out. So pretty soon, probably during the middle half of the year, which is pretty soon, we might be receiving bins to do just that.
Well, that's really cool because while I mentioned Cambridge, which is about an hour from where I live, we don't
Mhm.
currently have it here in the town where I am. So I've been following it and I'm waiting for the opportunity to hopefully be able to get on board with that once a company who can handle the logistics of that comes into town.
Yeah, that will be awesome. That will be really awesome if all our counties do that. But then, of course, we know that will require different kinds of logistics, and then you have to educate the end users or the homeowners on how to dispose your product properly. You know,
Right, right,
biodegradable
yeah.
products.
Yeah, and you don't want to get like any accidental pieces of plastic or anything in that because it can contaminate
Yeah,
the process. So you do have to be very careful that you make sure that that's separate from the other waste that you produce.
that's right. That's right.
Well, that's fantastic. And that once again steamrolls right into the next question, which is, are you willing to pay more for a product if it has sustainable packaging?
Again, I would say, going back to what I said earlier, it really depends on the product. Um, I really don't look at the pricing. I look at the fact if I look at it this way. If it answers the question, do I need the product? And I don't care about the price. And then if it supports, the environment and such, well, that's an extra bonus for me. The company will, from my end, will get kind of like a bonus point or a plus one. So yeah or no, because there are expensive products that are not packaged well, not sustainable, and there are less expensive products that are really practical and sustainable also.
Yes, that's very true. And I mean, when you think about really high end brands or what some people might call luxury brands, whether that's cosmetics or beauty products or
Hmm.
high end gourmet foods, a lot of them do come in luxury packaging, which often will have for example, if you were going to buy a bottle of expensive liquor, oftentimes it'll come in a paperboard or cardboard box, and the inside is lined with like a thermoformed plastic
Wow.
that the bottle fits right into it and the plastic is covered in like felt or things of that nature. So
Yeah.
for a lot of people that luxury packaging is part of that process. It's almost as important as the product to some extent for some people for the unboxing experience, which is,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen the unboxing videos online. People get really excited about unboxing a product.
Many. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've seen those. But at the end of the day, though, if we do not all practice sustainable packaging, consumers and manufacturers, everyone, we consumers will end up paying higher prices for products anyway because there will be less available materials on the market. So it's a domino effect.
Yeah, and right now with issues going on in Ukraine and the supply chain problems that we're having from various items, including the pandemic and then the container ship
Mhm.
that got stuck in the Suez Canal, it's a touchy subject right now because
It
things are
is.
already getting more expensive, and it's just what we currently have. So to make an improvement on that, that can be a pain point that I can understand why a lot of people might be like, no, I'm not particularly interested in that. So
Yeah.
hopefully. once things get back to normal, quote unquote, if they ever do, there'll be, new technological innovations that make sustainable packaging more affordable. So it's not such a painful experience when people are trying to make a shift to that.
I agree. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
All right. Well, the next question is, can you tell us a story about a product's packaging that really drove you to purchase that item? Like, have you ever gone into a store or a retailer of some type to pick up a product, but you didn't have anything specific in mind and you saw something and you were like, wow, I need this. I didn't need it when I walked in here today, but man, that looks great.
I guess it's that I need this, I want this, which is
Yeah.
there's a difference there. And yeah, so many times. But I was recently on a trip to the grocery store, the food store here in my area. So yeah, I wasn't really wanting any, and needing anything, but I just browsed, and that's kind of like dangerous for me because I might end up buying something, which I did. I went from aisle to aisle looking for a drink, just any drink. Oh, no, not really just any drink, but I was looking for something with less sugar
Yep.
and healthy, of course. So I started reading the back of the drinks. I usually read, what the packaging says, and
Hmm.
I read anything. And there are so many drinks out there, as you know. One in particular caught my attention because I liked what it said in the packaging. It said that it's where it's made is one that is said in the packaging, and it turned out that it's very close to where I live, so it's local. I love supporting our local farmers. And then the second one is, of course, it's local. It's a U.S. company, and like you already know, I love supporting our U.S. businesses and manufacturers. And that one thing that I was looking for is that it's healthy. It's 100% made of carrots, no other ingredients. I like it a lot. And I ended up buying it again and again. So you see, personally, I do get attracted by the packaging, as you already know. But I read what the package says, where it's made, what it's made of, and other backstories they include. If I like what I need in the packaging, I might buy the product even though I don't need it. And as you know, I did.
That's awesome. That's a great story, and it's a perfect example of what I was looking for. And
Yeah.
now that I think of it, interactive packaging or packaging that's well designed, whatever the element is that pulls you in and makes you want to buy that product.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm going to go off script a little bit here, but as you're a social media professional, it's interesting to note that companies can use packaging to actually bolster their social media followings. I notice nowadays
Uh-huh.
when you buy a
Yes.
product, if you spin it around in your hands, sooner or later you're going to find usually the icons for Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest,
Yes,
or Instagram. And I think it's something that is catching on. A lot of people don't think of it immediately, but
it
um,
is.
because it's the analog world meeting the digital world. But it's really a great
Mm-hmm.
and simple way, because even if you don't put your actual URL to your Facebook page, if you see that icon, then you know that, well, I can just look up the brand in the search bar, and I'll probably be able to find them and then follow them so I can get updates on their products.
Totally. Packaging is part of marketing. And whatever you said in the package, like what one thing that first caught the attention of the consumer, it better be what it is. So let me tell you a story about one. Okay, there's one, I won't say the brand, but it's a known brand of sausages. It
Okay.
said it's a chicken sausage, but when I looked in the back, now it has turkey in it. And I don't like turkey.
Uh oh.
Uh-huh. So be careful with the packaging too. What you say in the product, it better be not, like you said, marketing, uh, clickbait.
Yeah, analog clickbait. So you end up buying a product that has an ingredient in it that's not made front and center, and then you have
Yeah.
buyer's regret.
Mm-hmm. And then goodbye, customer. There goes your customer or future customer.
Yeah, I've been there myself in many situations of that as well, and yeah, it's not a fun experience. So to those companies who are manufacturing foods, make sure that you're very verbose about the ingredients and to make sure that they are
Yes.
appropriately listed on your packaging.
Yes, please.
All right. Well, that actually brings us to our last question, which is, what is one thing that you wish that companies knew when it comes to packaging for their products?
This is like Ruby's letter to manufacturers.
I love it.
Yeah. Dear manufacturers, the biggest thing that companies, your company should know when it comes to packaging is that the consumer experience should be your number one priority. Aesthetics one thing, but customer experience is important. I, as a customer, don't need complicated packaging. Aside from your aesthetic, it should be simple. Also, it should clearly and accurately convey information about your product. The customer experience is what sets a company or your company from its competitors. And if you're not delivering on this aspect of your business, then you might as well pack up shop. No pun there, by the way. That's
Well,
very important.
I always appreciate a good pun, so that is more than welcome humor. And I guess that after the USA Manufacturing Hour today, that's the theme of the day, comedy.
Yes, I wasn't even thinking of that when I wrote this.
All right, well, that is all the questions that I have for you today, Ruby. I want to thank you for coming on the show. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me, Nate. And I hope your listeners got something out of what I said. And yeah, good luck to what you do.
Great, thank you very much. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that does it for another episode of the Industrial Packaging Podcast with me, your host, Nathan Doobie, Digital Marketing Specialist at Industrial Packaging. I hope you enjoyed today's episode, and I hope you will tune in for the next one. But until then, I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you next time.